morning, mate.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy Crypto World Podcast. The podcast brought to you by your two crazy guys, Stacey and Chris. One a baby boomer, one a Gen X, but you're both crazy enough, even though they're from different generations, to bring you the crypto crazy news of the day and all the market updates. So sit back and relax with us and enjoy what is now episode 58. This is it, ladies and gents. We've now officially reached both of our ages at some point during these podcasts. Stacey.
Wow.
Stacey, happy birthday.
Yeah. No, not yet. It's coming.
Yeah, no, isn't the 58, isn't that, now we've reached 58, I thought that was yours.
Sure. Look, I feel a little bit like that today. Having done some cementing and other things yesterday, I'm definitely feeling my age today, I tell you.
You got your muscle arms on?
Oh, yeah, I can feel them.
Well, you're going to kill me.
What for this time?
I forgot to press go live on Facebook. The video's there, but it's it's live now. So
it's live, mate. Well, hi, Facebook.
Yeah, good morning to all those people out in Facebook land. You just missed the amazing introduction that we did today. It was just like super special because one of us numpties forgot to press the actual go live button on Facebook. I won't say which one it was, except that they've got crypto coins behind them.
I've got them. What do you mean? We've both got them.
I know.
Cheeky bugger. But
well, hey, it's a 50-50 bet.
Well, for some reason, Periscope won't work today either, so it's not.
So to all those people,
I don't know what's going on.
Here we go, technological challenges again. To all those people out there in Facebook land, this is episode 58. So what I was saying is we've now officially reached numbers that match both of our ages at some point during these podcasts. So I was saying happy birthday to Stacey. He was looking at me like,
what?
58.
What? Dear. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Periscope. It doesn't want to play ball today. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on there. Technology, I tell you.
I know, right? Imagine that. Imagine if we couldn't be in different states and do this stuff.
I know, right?
It's incredible. All right, so what are the markets doing, buddy?
Well, I should probably share my screen so you can see what's going on, I suppose.
That would be a very good idea. Thank you.
Share, away we go.
Now, as always,
bring that one around there.
Just giving everyone a fair warning, it is Thursday, which means that my beautiful princess is already at work, so my little man, the littlest deal, will probably come and join me first.
May indeed. All right. Well, he can see what's going on in the crypto world as well. So a bit of consolidation overnight after we had that nice big run up of the last couple of days. Bitcoin settling down just around the 10,600 US mark, down just 0.4. Ethereum's at 175. It's dropped 2.7%. XRP's at 25.89 cents, down 1.3. Bitcoin Cash at 295, down 2.3. Litecoin's at 67.16, down another 2.8%. Tether's still holding number 6 position. Binance Coin 21.65, down 3.7%. EOS at 331, down 2.5%. Bitcoin SV 133, down 1.3%. And Cardano in the number 10 spot, 4.5 cents. It's dropped 3.5%. Much like Monero at the 11th position.
Wow.
Also 3.5%.
Stella's staying in the dozen.
Yeah, holding in the dozen.
And look at that. Out of the top 10, can you scroll up a little bit? Stella is the second worst performance of the week. Only Binance Coin has gone down more overall.
Had a worse week.
Yeah. Good on you, Stella. You must have known that I bought some more. Awesome.
That's we call that the Chris Index.
It is, mate. There should be a Chris Index, ladies and gentlemen. Dead third.
We'll start a Chris Index. So when Chris buys, we sell. If Chris sells, we buy.
And that's the way it works.
Well, we've got our market cap's holding about 269 billion, down 0.69%. But Bitcoin dominance still holding above 70%, 70.6%. So, and interestingly, we've had some more coins join the list. We're at 5,607 different coins. There's people are still inventing them. Crazy stuff. So they did try and have a bit of a run last night with Bitcoin. So I was just looking at the 24-hour chart here, and at about 2 a.m. this morning, she went on a bit of a tear, hit a high of 10,881, and then promptly, actually no, it got higher than that. It got to 10,919. It got to.
Wow.
And then promptly reversed. So there you go.
That's why, ladies and gents, as you know, we base our names on the Friends show, and today is the one where the takeoff was aborted.
For now. Yes, it is definitely just for now. There's so much happening in the world today that it's just it's a little bit crazy out there. And interestingly,
just a very, very, very quick technological question for you. What is the name of the software we use to multi-stream? And there is a reason I'm asking. I just received a message based on our Facebook here saying, "Hey, what do you guys use to stream?"
Oh, caster.io.
Caster, C-A-S-T-R, isn't it?
C-A-S-T-R dot, I think it's .io. Yeah, castr.io. Yep.
Oh,
that is indeed the software. And look, for the most part, it works pretty well. We've had some issues, especially with YouTube. They are still working on some issues there, but it's...
there you go. All right, well, let's go back to that. I received that via a private message by someone. So
there you go. Good question. So, will the next world reserve currency be a crypto?
Well, I think it will.
Well, interesting again, and I have seen this before. It's a interesting look when you go back over thousands of years of history and world currencies. This particular graph here, and actually I wonder if I can make that bigger so we can see that a little bit better. But it goes over the history of time. That didn't really help us, did it? Oh yeah, there we go. That did. So hopefully you can read that. So it shows over history that there's been different currencies that has dominated the globe, right? So going right back to 1400s, where Portugal's main currency was sort of the main one, and then Spain took over in the 1500s to 1600s, and Netherlands had one from where's that? It's looking at about 1650 to 1712. Actually, I read it. It would tell me 1640 to 1720. And then
welcome to Station.
I'm trying to work out what the things will be, and the numbers are right there beside them.
Ask what the flags are next.
I'm there for thinking, yeah. What do the flags mean? And so anyway, then followed that in the French Revolution. There was 95 years there from 1720 to 1815, and then the Brits took over from 1815 to 1920. The British currency was the leading world currency, and then of course the US took over from about 1920 until now. So the interesting thing about that is that
the wars.
Yeah, well, there is that, but they've all ended after roughly 90 to 100 years. All of them have lasted. If we go through them, Portugal's 80. Spain was 110, Netherlands 80 years, France was 95, Britain was 105. We're already at 110. So the US dollar... Sorry?
Have a look at the reason in between, apart from the fact of the devaluation of the currency at the time, but what caused all of those currencies to lose that status?
Every single one of them.
War.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And what is the US doing right now?
Oh, they're waging war on everybody.
Yeah, and dragging us into a possible conflict with China.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, the takeaway is that in all likelihood, the US dollar as the world currency is
coming to an end.
Coming to an end, absolutely. And
Based on that, they're saying 2030. See the date? They put a date on
yes,
it.
they have. Yeah, they did put a date on it to 2030, and which is still even then well beyond the average of what most of the currencies have lasted. So but although they have taken it from 1944, which is when the US dollar when the Bretton Woods Agreement came in, then the US dollar really took over the UK pound at that point. And so I suppose they're sort of taking the time from 44 instead of the start of the build up, which was in the 30s. So, but the question is, what are we going to move to? And this article talks about, is it the time for a cryptocurrency to sort of take over?
And it's funny you mention it, because yesterday there was an article which I tried to find again before and I couldn't, but there's a new stablecoin in development where they're basing it off the world currency markets rather than an individual currency.
Yeah,
and so
right.
the algorithm behind it will actually base it on the world markets, so that trading that is really, you're trading all the markets around the world sort of stuff. And it made sense when I read the article. It actually made sense because I thought it's not a stable coin tied to the US dollar like the USDT. It's not tied to the yuan. It's not tied to like the one that China's going to release. I'm not sure whether BitMEX is tied to an individual fiat currency, but we know that Libra was tied to primarily the US dollar because it's Visa, MasterCard, and all that sort of stuff. Right? But this one would actually be global markets, and that I think is heading in this direction.
Yeah, look, and they need to do something, and they know that the fiat currency experiment, shall we say, it doesn't work, and it never has. There's never been a single fiat currency in the whole history of money that has worked. They've all failed, every single one of them.
But it takes 100 years, dude.
Yeah, well, it's happening. It's happening fast.
So someone who was born in 1944 who dies in 2019 says it worked for my whole life.
Did it? Well, the question is, did it really work? Right? What's your definition of worked? And I think for the average person, you'd probably argue it's not working real well.
That's true.
So interesting. There was a cover on the Economist magazine from 1988 that talked about getting ready for a world currency back then. Right?
Look at that. It even looks like a crypto coin.
Well, and that's the thing that actually says here in the article. Right? It's quite intriguing that since it calls for a world currency and displays a coin that resembles Bitcoin, which was way before Satoshi presented his, the crypto concept. But the Phoenix symbol is also relevant. The fact that the Economist is owned by families like Agnelli and Rothschild sparked many conspiracy theories, right? So, it's not a new concept. It's certainly been around for a while, but given what's going on with the world economic sort of all the shit that's going on, basically. There's a lot that are suggesting that there could be a world currency announced sooner rather than later. And
I think it's a great idea.
Well, yes and no. And this is the thing. As far as I'm concerned, we already have one. It's called Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's there. It's global. It's open public ledger, right? It's borderless. It's not under the control of any government, right?
Could you imagine if it became the official? Oh my God, what would a Bitcoin be worth?
Yeah.
Only 21 million of them.
Yeah. Look, as far as I'm concerned, it's already the unofficial one, right? Because you can go into any country of the world and use Bitcoin somewhere, or give someone anywhere in the world Bitcoin, and it works, right? Yeah. It's already there. So it's only the fact that the governments can't control it and can't do anything with it that they don't want it, right? But that's not going to. But that doesn't mean they can stop it. They can't stop it. And in fact, there was recent comments in U.S. Congress recently where one of the congressmen actually said, basically, there's no way we can stop this. The question is, how do we deal with it, right? Yeah. So they're starting to see and understand. But look, there's no doubt that the powers to be are going to try and create a world currency of some sort, and it makes sense that it's going to be a crypto, right? Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out.
Yeah.
Um, and talking about Bitcoin, 2019 monthly lows show next Bitcoin bull market will be stronger. And this is a view that I've sort of had for a while, where everyone talks about the massive spikes and in the subsequent bear markets and all that sort of stuff. If you just look at the worst case scenario, that is, what is the lowest price that Bitcoin has been every year, right? Then the price is still going up.
Yeah.
Right. And if we look at, and even just look at this year for 2019, right? So we look at the lows, which it shows here. January was 3,400. February was 3,400, or just below 3,400. March was 3,700. April 4,000. May went to 5,300. June was 7,500. July is 9,100, and August 9,300. So they're the lows. They were the lowest prices for that month. Right? And so for September, who knows? It's going to be higher than that. Well, we expect it to be higher than that. We've started higher than that August low. So unless market doesn't drop out the arse somewhere, then September looks like it's going to be higher again. So, but I thought that was a good way to look at it.
Underneath those numbers.
Which one?
Underneath the numbers there. This isn't a few months of 2017 gamble mania anymore. This is a store of value in the making and just the beginning.
Yep.
That's actually 3 very good sentences on those numbers.
Yeah. Actually, I like this comment too from Charlie Shrem. Do you remember the in-between period when Bitcoin went from 1,000 to 20,000? So what makes you think you remember when it goes from 10,000 to 100,000?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This is just the steps along the way, right? So I thought that was pretty cool. Founding father of blockchain praises Electroneum and compares its security to that of Bitcoin's, which I find really interesting. So Electroneum's one that I've been following for a little while, thanks to a friend of mine who put me onto it, and it's really cool. Like you've got an app on your phone, and that app enables you to basically they're doing a cloud mining type setup where anybody can basically sign up for it, and you can earn Electroneum on your mobile phone, right?
Have you got that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I told you about it a little while ago, dude. You don't remember that?
No.
So it's just a little app. I think if I can bring that in enough.
No, you can't see it, mate.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just a little app that that enables you to mine Electroneum from your mobile phone, and so you just you've got to sort of log into it at least once a week to keep extending the so-called mining contract, they call it, and you just keep earning Electroneum, and but it's the technology around being able to share and send money to other people as well is really cool. It's very fast. So it's look, it's not a bad little app. I don't mind the project. I haven't had a look at it in a little while, but
you gonna buy into it?
You don't even need to buy into it, mate. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to spend a cent on it. All you do is you open the app, and you start mining.
Wow.
We might do a little.
I'm doing it as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to tell you in a minute how quick and easy it was.
Yeah, no, it is. It's so anyway. The views around Electroneum. So the comments here from so where is it? Stornetto recently met with Electroneum CEO Richard Ells, and during the conversation told him, "I understand what you're doing with the moderated blockchain and your unique proof of responsibility protocol, which is quite different. It's different to any of the other cryptos that's out there." He says, "I'm happy to recognize that you have grasped the breadth of the design space, also that you are flexible enough and open-minded enough to be still exploring how to get the balance of the mix, and that's something that I'm able to encourage wholeheartedly." And so but what I like about this comment is that it actually goes across a lot of the projects across the space. And we've got to remember, we're still very early on in the whole crypto ecosystem, right? So sure, while there's a lot of projects and a lot of them, there's no such thing as a perfect project, and some of them have limitations and issues, but the development continues every single day. There are a countless number of hours of development time and testing and new design elements and everything going into a lot of these projects. So sure, while certain projects or things may not be perfect right now, they are growing exponentially, right? And there's so much to come in the industry that's that's why I'm in it, because I'm very excited for the future and what's coming.
Okay, I'm at the selfie stage, ladies and gents, on Electroneum.
Doing selfies. It looks in certain positions you hold that up, your phone disappeared. It looks like you were just holding your hands up.
I'm just going to take the headphones off for a second to do a selfie.
All right. Well, while you do that, while Chris plays with his selfie phones, I'll continue on. So
this is a live demo, because this is actually Stacey talking while I do something. Amazing.
Yeah, so anyway, look, there's talk about how crazy this world is. Traders buy everything as Uber-Dovish Fedspeak sparks dollar dump. So there's so much going on. For some reason, a lot of the markets went up last night, or overnight, I should say. And just based on some comments, this is how volatile, how crazy the market is right now. It's not based on any fundamentals, right? It's just purely based on some comments that were made, and that sounds really promising. So let's buy a bunch of shares, right? But they reckon that the market is already pricing in 124 basis points of cuts through to the end of 2020, right? And so they're looking here. There's a chart here where they believe the Fed funds rate is going to end by at the end of 2020, and we're down well under a negative percent for the US interest rate. Yeah. So that's crazy, and there is also even looking at the those that are betting on the US rates going negative before the end of 2021. And there's a huge, like, since December. So since December 2018, the amount of euro-dollar call open interest. So the amount of money that's being bet on negative interest rates is just going up through the roof. Absolutely insane. So none of this makes sense, though, right? I mean, and this is what I don't understand. And but the one thing that does make sense to me is the fact that the gold and silver market's starting to run, right?
Yeah.
And so they're now talking about are we now into a bull market for gold and silver? And if we look at I brought up the charts before, but if we look at gold, just over the last month, so gold US against the per ounce went from 1463 until right now, which is what is it now, about 1553 just in the last month, right? And the last 24 hours, it's up 0.34%. And silver, what's that done? So in the last month, silver has gone from 1636 US per ounce up to, where is it now? It's gone on a bit of a tear in the last couple of days, 1958. So it's almost at $20 per ounce. So certainly, if you look at the charts, you could definitely argue that gold and silver's heading upwards. They reckon that gold's getting ready to touch 1800, and certainly by the looks of the pricing, it will. But gold and silver traditionally has always been that safe haven, right? So when instability is in the general market and people aren't sure about what's going to happen, they move to gold and silver. The interesting thing, though, is who's buying gold and silver. And China's been loading up on gold in particular. Russia's been loading up. Turkey's been loading up. So there's lots of movement. Oh, and a lot of the central banks, that's the other thing, a lot of the central banks have been buying up gold. So when these sort of institutions and countries are buying up big on gold, you've got to ask why. Right? What's coming? What do they know? And what are we heading for? So, but they're saying that gold's heading for its fourth straight month of gains. and but this also feeds in, or maybe as a part result of the fact that it has now come out that a couple of the big banks have been caught manipulating the gold and silver markets, and so maybe gold and silver's becoming unshackled from that, and free market forces are starting to bring it back to the price that it should have been in the first place. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? All a bit crazy. So, another article here that the 2020s will begin with the lowest interest rates in 5,000 years, which is just crazy. So,
well, just to quickly interrupt you there, my Electroneum wallet is set up, ladies and gentlemen, and just by going through that process in the last 5 minutes, I've earned 20 coins.
Go you!
It's now mining. It's amazing.
Go you! So. Yeah, look, it's as easy as that, and then you'll just keep earning coins. So it's pretty cool.
Yep.
So I thought this was really interesting, and the crazy thing is that our interest rates, there's no sign, there's no indicators that's telling us that the interest rates are going to reverse anytime soon. And everyone's talking negative interest rates. Rates are still going to go lower. So the economy is looking very shaky, and we're already at ultra low rates now. So you got to wonder where this is heading.
Yeah.
What was next? We had here we go. The so if anyone hasn't watched the movie, I know I've mentioned this a few times, but if anyone hasn't watched the movie called The Big Short, do it tonight. It's a great movie. It explains very well what happened in the 2008 financial crisis. Gives you some background into the issues that led to it, and how close we came to the whole financial system literally crumbling. And in particular, Dr. Michael Burry was one of the guys depicted in that movie, and he picked it quite ahead of the game, and he could see what was coming on. Now, he's now just recently come out and said that the index funds could quite possibly trigger the next crash, and this is something that I got to say from my reading has certainly had me concerned as well. And he says, like most bubbles, the longer it goes on, the worse the crash will be, right? And he says it's one of the reasons why he likes small cap value stocks, because they tend to be underrepresented in the index funds, or left out entirely, right? And so the problem with the index funds is, while they've made a really simple and cheap on-ramp for people to invest in a whole range of stocks, a lot of it's also made it easy for a lot of superannuation funds here in Australia, or other retirement funds around the world, investment companies, and there's a whole bunch of players that have jumped on to these investment vehicles, so to speak. But the problem is now that they've been flooded with so much, right, that they're sort of going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy in terms of why they've gone up so well. But it also means that and as Michael Burry points out, it's one of the reasons why they're going to crash, and they're going to crash hard, right? So he says here that he argued that these passive flows are distorting prices for stocks and bonds in much the same way that the CDOs did for some private mortgages, which he predicted was going to cause the crash in 2008. And he said eventually the flows will reverse at some point, and when they do, it will be ugly. It will be ugly, right? So
we all know that because it's on its way.
It is indeed.
You never know. Maybe they'll turn it around, but who knows? Right now, the indications are they won't.
Indeed. And just to finish off, just so we're providing all views. We're not all completely bullish on crypto. There's people out there that have other views, and we will show them. This one says Bitcoin is not likely to surpass its all-time high in 2019. This one has a low probability of revisiting 20,000 this year. But
They mentioned back. They say back's custodial service could spike the Bitcoin price.
Absolutely.
Well, my guess has always been 15,000 for this year, and I'm sticking to that.
Yeah, no, I'll be amazed if we don't hit all-time highs this year. With the back custodial service kicking off, and with all the global instability, there's just going to be more and more events that are going to keep coming out. That's going to continue to, I think, drive adoption for crypto. So, and this one also, another analysis sees Bitcoin at 6,000 before a massive parabolic bull run. So there's another one that's suggesting we're going to go back down to 6. But look, who knows? We might. But it's.
I'll tell you what, if we do, I'm buying a shitload of
it. Yeah.
All right, buddy.
That's right. All right. So let me stop that share and we'll go back. So,
ladies and gentlemen, we have to wrap today, unfortunately.
It's a wrap.
As I tackle to go out there and sort of wake up. He hasn't come to join us today, which is quite unusual when he mum's awake. But I still need to go and get him out of bed and get him ready for bed. So thank you very, very much for joining the Two Crazy Guys of the One Crazy Crypto World, episode 58. Don't forget someone's birthday. Well, it's not really.
No, it's not.
all I can do is just
that's in October.
Yeah, someone who forgot the other stuff. The technologically challenged people, they've got Bitcoins behind them. All right.
I'll tell you what, I'll block mine out.
All right. So everyone have a great day. Don't forget, as always, you can join us over there on Patreon where you will get some of this bling bling.
Get your Bitcoin bling.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a crazy old day. See ya.
Cheers. Bye.